Hi guys, I wrote a script for this, so apologies if it doesn't come out naturally. Today I wanted to discuss what happened to me over the past 5 or 6 years and why I stopped uploading entirely in the spring of 2023. I won't necessarily get into the details of my personal and family life, but I will be mentioning people by either their Wiz name or Discord name. I will try to avoid name dropping people by their IRL names because I don't want to start more beef and I didn't get anyone's consent before making this video. This is mostly due to the fact that I'm currently not in contact with anyone from Wizard101 or Discord and haven't been for a long time now, with an exception or two. At the time I am writing this, I first thought about making this video yesterday. A long time ago, I thought about making an apology video of sorts, but figured it can bring me more bad attention than good, namely by shedding light on something not all my viewers would be aware of, but a certain subset of the PvP and Wiz Discord community would be, especially those that were active a few years ago. I have no idea if this video will do well. It could get 2 views, it could get 8 views, it could get 30 views, or it could even do well. It really depends on if people care enough to share it. I'm not sure how long this video will be. Hopefully it is long enough without being ridiculously lengthy. I want to try to have some structure and logic in the way I tell my story. Now, a few years ago, I was pretty active on Discord and Wizard101, occasionally very early in the morning because I was waking up at 1:30 a.m. I would join late night calls, send messages in servers, and sometimes PvP in the afternoon, where I tried to record most of my matches. It all started in January 2021, when I was living alone in an apartment during the pandemic. I was in school, and because I didn't have to go many places, I had some time on my hands. For whatever reason, I decided to go onto Wizard101.com and see what was going on in the game, namely to see if it was still a thing. At that time, I hadn't logged on since either late 2016 or early 2017, probably during winter break my last year of high school. Logging on Wizard101 and hanging around the arena, having been quite a fan of PvP back when I played in first and second age for the most part, I met a girl called Alexis Star. To keep in touch more consistently, she asked me if I had Discord. At the time, I don't think I knew what Discord was, but I made an account and she invited me to a small server with a few of her friends. For IRL reasons and mental health reasons, I took a few months off Wizard 101 and Discord and came back in the summer of 2021. At this point, the server had changed and there were many new names and faces in it, namely Reed, Kyle, Nicole, Caleb, and Mason. Now, these people I didn't specifically have a problem with. Some of them I never ended up having any beef with whatsoever. But I did have serious issues with a guy that went by Rez. He was extremely rude, extremely cocky, and insulted other members of the server to the point where it crumbled and got split into 2 or 3 different servers. To this day, I really don't understand how people supported his behavior and remained friends with him long after this. I'll try not to go on too many tangents and name people in this video unnecessarily. I would like to name a few people that were overall positive influences in my life throughout my time on Wizard 101 a few years ago. I could name people from my early time in the game from 2008 to 2017, but that isn't what this video is about. First of all, I would like to thank Autumn and Patrick for being friends with me for a very long time. I would also like to thank David Lotus for being a positive influence and someone with whom I interacted on and off for a bit a few years ago. I would like to thank Porwin, Blake Dragonleaf, Tiffany Rain, Jasmine, and our friend Chris. I apologize for the beef I had with another Chris, Chris Titan, and I hope that everything I said and everything he said is buried in the past now. I was not my right self when I was arguing with them. It was very unnecessary in the grand scheme of things. I would also like to apologize for beefing with Gabriel Bear, and by extensions his friends Morgram and Liam. I think there was a lot of miscommunication and hurt feelings for actions and words that were not intended to be hurtful, but it led to a lot of friction nonetheless. I would also like to apologize to Kamuzi and Jasmine Moon for the back and forths I had with them and my weird behavior in general. If you don't care about anything I am saying, please just don't watch this video. I would like to thank Isabella Ice for being a friend. I would also like to thank Corey Dusk for this reason as well. If I forget anyone, I'm sorry, and it's just that your name slipped my mind all these years later. I might make a follow-up video at some point if there are enough things I forgot to mention. Now, The main reason I'm making this video is to address the entirely false accusation that spread like wildfire in PvP Wizard101 discords, especially among those who did legendary PvP a few years ago. As far as I can recall, I made one comment in one Discord server that reads extremely poorly and led to me being called something I won't even explicitly name in this video for fear of being clipped. If you have an idea of what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. Now, I know there are many Wizard 101 players, especially those with some kind of platform, that have been accused of the same thing over the years, some with more proof than others. But I swear on my life that what I was accused of is complete bull and is obviously disgusting. And and over time became extremely hurtful. To give you an idea, if anything, I've always been attracted to people a few years older than me. It might have been from maturing at an early age. Now, what I did actually type in the Discord server was alluding to an experience I had when I was 12 years old. It had nothing to do with my feelings at the time I wrote the message. I'm not excusing myself for what I typed. Not knowing it at the time, I was mentally ill and amped up when I did write the message. At the exact moment, I didn't even realize what I had done. I did not know that one message would ruin my Wizard 101 experience and eventually my life. Another name I would like to mention at this time is Stephen Fire and his mods for not hearing me out and allowing me to defend myself at the time. If more people were aware of how an accusation like this could affect an individual's life and mental health, surely they would have tried to do something or help and contradict the trolls in a stronger fashion. I spent time in Liam as a Vibe server, and the back and forths I had with a specific individual were ridiculous and memorable to this day. There may have been other people in that server, but one person really stands out in my memory. I wish the mods in that server had done more and been more serious about reading and understanding what that person was doing. There are many people I did not have favorable interactions with following the mass spreading of my Discord message. I probably don't remember them all. Some notable ones would be the Thistles. There were many of them: Quinn, Justin, Zachary, and Alex. And I can't say I hold any endearment towards any of those individuals. Then there were people like Erica Icethorn, Haley, and Molly that were on me for months and just wouldn't let go. I'd like to thank Adam Skull for being a friend around those times, and I'd also like to mention Joseph Ghost for making up with me. We ended up being on good terms. I would like to apologize for all the crazy things I said in Caleb's server and later in Mugiwara's server. I did not know it at the time, but I was legitimately mentally ill around that time. I did eventually receive help, and I am still receiving help, but bridges were burned and many things were said while I was quite literally losing my mind. The reason I'm making this video now is because I carry an extreme amount of guilt, negative feelings, and anxiety related to Wizard 101 and Discord, even if all the negative interactions happened years ago. Since the spring of 2023, I logged on Wizard 101 in the summer of 2025 to PvP, farm spell elements, and help my friend quest. I also logged on a couple of times recently just to watch PvP matches and see if anyone on my friends list was still active. It took a long time to be ready to talk about all the things and people I have mentioned in this video. I apologize if my thoughts seem incoherent or disjointed, or if your opinion is that nobody cares what I have to say. I hope to somehow reconnect with my friends Corwin, Blake, Tiffany, Jasmine, and Chris. The few attempts I have made to reconnect with them through social media did not seem to bear any fruit at the time. If any of you are watching, please leave a comment on this video. I also apologize if this comes off as a trauma dump or an irrelevant rant by someone you either never heard of, don't care for, or aren't interested in. I can tell you that I've been through many things in the past several years, online and especially in real life. I apologize for lies or exaggerations I made about my life in the past. I try to tell the truth all the time. There are details I left out of the fallout from Alexis Star's server disbanding and Rez's persistent idiocy, but I don't think it's productive to rehash those events and thoughts. The same goes for the beef that started between Gabriel Bear and people I knew. I forgot to mention Blaze Dawn as a friend and positive influence throughout my time on Wizard 101 and this channel a few years ago. Thank you. Anyway, thank you for listening. I may make videos again in the future, maybe even in the near future, but the barrier of entry to PvP seems crazier than ever, and I have trouble finding the time and motivation to bring my legendary characters up to snuff with the current meta. I may try to make more PvE or discussion type videos if I have anything coherent to say. Some channel recommendations I would make for anyone listening, and some of these are really obvious, but I like Zaret's content and Awesome the Sauce's streams. I'd also like to shout out Richard Unicorn Caller, Gume, and Kaiser Noah, all of whom I used to listen to. Thanks again. Until next time, bye.